You know, money has a strange rhythm. It rises and falls, just like fame. And sometimes, when the spotlight fades, the story that remains isn't about the music at all. It's about the millions that were made and the fortune that quietly disappeared. Today, we're talking about one of rock's most mysterious figures, Sam Rivers, the bassist from Limp Bizkit, the man behind the groove that defined a generation of chaos, rebellion, and raw energy. But after decades of sold-out tours, platinum albums, and music videos that dominated MTV, one question remains. What really happened to Sam Rivers' fortune? Was he a millionaire who lived quietly? Or did fame, health, and the changing music industry leave him with nothing? Let's unpack the hidden millions behind Limp Bizkit and follow the money trail of Sam Rivers. To understand Sam Rivers' money story, we have to rewind to the mid-1990s, Jacksonville, Florida. A young Sam, just out of high school, was jamming with local musicians. He wasn't the flashy frontman type, he was the quiet powerhouse with the bass. At the time, rock music was changing. Grunge had cracked open the mainstream, and hip-hop was rewriting what rhythm could sound like. And out of that mix came Limp Bizkit. Fred Durst on vocals, Wes Borland on guitar, John Otto on drums, and Sam Rivers on bass, the heartbeat. When they hit it big, they really hit it big. Their debut album, $3 Bill, Y'all, dropped in 1997, and by the time Significant Other came out in '99, they were selling millions of records. Not thousands, millions. In the early 2000s, Limp Bizkit wasn't just a band, they were a brand. Merchandise, endorsements, world tours, MTV awards, the group was everywhere. And money? It was pouring in. At their peak, analysts estimate Limp Bizkit generated over $40 to $50 million in global revenue, mostly from touring and album sales. Let's break that down. A top-tier rock band at the time could earn around $500,000 to $1 million per night on tour. That's not gross, that's net performance revenue. Even after label cuts and expenses, each member could walk away with tens of thousands per show. And Sam Rivers, as a founding member and co-writer on several tracks, wasn't just a hired hand. He had royalties, songwriting, publishing, merch share. By 2001, his personal net worth was estimated between $6 and $8 million. Not counting real estate or investments. He was living the rock star dream. Big houses, cars, endless tours. But, as we all know, fame burns fast. By the mid-2000s, the sound of rock was shifting. Nu metal, the genre Limp Bizkit helped define, started to fade from radio. The world moved toward pop-punk, indie rock, and electronic. And with that shift, came financial slowdown. Album sales dropped across the entire industry. Streaming had not yet replaced the loss. Imagine this. A band once making $10 per CD, now earning fractions of a cent per stream. For someone like Sam Rivers, whose income relied heavily on royalties and touring, that meant less cash flow. The band went on hiatus in 2006. And with that, so did the millions. During this time, Sam faced something far more serious than money. His health. Years of touring, late nights, and heavy lifestyle choices caught up with him. He battled liver disease and eventually needed a transplant. It's one of those brutal reminders that health costs don't care how famous you are. Hospital bills, treatments, time off work. Sources close to the band said Sam spent years focusing on recovery. He moved away from the spotlight, selling properties, downsizing his lifestyle, and quietly rebuilding. Financially, that can drain anyone. Even someone who once had millions. But here's where the story turns, because Sam Rivers wasn't just a musician. He was a listener, a planner, and according to interviews, he had started learning about investments, small ones, stocks, royalties, and real estate. He wasn't chasing crypto or risky ventures. He was looking for something stable. He once said in a 2012 podcast interview, "I learned the hard way. Money goes faster than you think. If I ever get another shot, I'm going to do it differently." In 2018, after years away, Sam rejoined Limp Bizkit. The band had re-entered the touring scene, not as the headliners of a youth movement, but as nostalgic legends. And nostalgia sells. Their tours between 2018 and 2023 grossed over $25 million, mostly from live shows and festival appearances. Streaming royalties also began to rise. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, millions of new listeners discovering their old hits. Break stuff. Nookie. My Way. Each stream doesn't pay much, but millions of streams a month add up. For founding members like Sam, those royalties provided steady passive income. Insiders estimate Sam Rivers' net worth at his passing was between $10 and $12 million, with most of it tied to publishing rights, residuals, and property investments. Not bad for a man who once said he never cared about money. But what's fascinating is how he built quiet wealth in his later years. He shifted from fame-driven earnings to long-term stability. No massive luxury homes. No flashy cars on Instagram. No hype. Just passive income, the kind financial experts call quiet wealth. And in a way, that's the real lesson here. Sam Rivers' story isn't just a music biography. It's a financial parable. Lesson 1. Fame fades, assets don't. When the music stopped, Sam's royalties and ownership in Limp Bizkit's catalog kept paying him. That's why creators today fight for publishing rights. Lesson 2. Health is wealth. No matter how much money you make, medical issues can erase it overnight. Sam's journey through illness reminds us, investing in your body is the most underrated form of financial planning. Lesson 3. Lifestyle inflation is real. When millions start rolling in, most people spend more. But Sam learned to scale down, to live smaller, to stretch what he had. And Lesson 4. Reinvention matters. Even after years away, he returned stronger, more mature, and financially smarter. In interviews, Fred Durst said Sam became the calm one, focused on structure, family, and longevity. He understood that the real game wasn't who could play the loudest, but who could last the longest. When Sam Rivers passed away in October 2025, the world mourned the sound, but few realized how quietly he'd mastered his own financial redemption. He didn't die broke. He didn't chase fame until the end. He learned, evolved, and found balance. And maybe that's the hidden story behind the millions. Not just what he earned, but what he learned. Because behind every stage light, every screaming crowd, every gold record, there's a real person trying to make sense of money, health, and meaning. Sam Rivers did all three. So the next time you hear that bass line on My Generation, remember, it's not just music. It's a reminder that money isn't the enemy. It's the rhythm you have to master. Fame is loud. Wealth is quiet. Sam Rivers lived both. Thank you for listening to this episode of Money Legends, where we uncover the financial stories behind the people who changed culture. If you enjoyed this story, drop a like, share it with a friend, and tell me, whose hidden millions should we uncover next?